perspective. Okay, my guest this morning is Dr. Adedoyin Lawal, who is a professor of economics, and joining us this morning in the conversation. It's going to be quite an interesting one, because I mean, when you discuss with people who have been in the space for a very long time, who are, in the academia as academics, and have continued to thrive in that space. By the way, yesterday, Professor Adedoyin Lawal hit a milestone with 1,000 citations, and that's quite big. We'll begin with that on that note. Welcome, Professor Lawal, and thank you so much for joining us. Congratulations on your 1,000th yesterday.
Thank you.
Good morning, and let's get to it. Prof, I want to start off by asking you, as a person who has seen it all and being in the space, going from being a student to now being a teacher yourself in the educational space, what do you think is the problem, or the bane of the problem in our educational sector? It seems like the situation continues to deteriorate by the day. We keep, people have, before now, we used to be that oh my God, it seems like we lost connection with Prof. I'll try to reconnect with him now. Just stay with us. But then, with the situation seeming to deteriorate by the day, where from talking about half-baked graduates churned out by our universities and polytechnics and colleges of education, to now having a situation where even secondary schools cannot, we can't boast having quality secondary education, not getting any better. We've had situations where people have had to say, let's declare a state of emergency on education in this country. And to now talk about how expensive it is to educate people in Nigeria, considering the fact that at some point we used to have free education, cannot even afford to send their kids to school, as the cost continues. Even though Nigeria, we still struggled. We see people struggle to send their children to school. There's out-of-school children running into almost 20 million out of school over that. Out-of-school children. This is basic education. We're lacking basic education. When in countries like India, where their population is seeing growth in that area, in China, with the population seeing growth in basic education. Education is they say education is a bedrock of every society, and if our bedrock is rocky, then it puts us in a difficult space. It puts us in a position where you can literally tell the future of this country, even without leaving, even without having to encounter Nigerians. You can tell how terrible looking at how the educational sector is. All right, now I'm trying to reconnect with my guest. It seems like there's a bit of an issue with this behaves and goes. But can you again, talking about things that fail in the Nigerian space? Just really sad. But we'll get to him in a bit. As soon as we're able to establish contact with him, we're going to get to that, to my guest. Joining with your 2 cents, 09073530044 and 09087668888. Give us a moment and we'll try to reconnect. All right, well, we'll continue to try to establish contact with my guest. Just joining, let's get your thoughts in. 09087668888. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Yana. Sure.
Good morning, Okwi. Good to have you.
I greet you.
I greet you too.
As what you said, push of Nigeria in terms of education. I don't think Nigerian should have future in this present administration. Yes, because of kidnapping in our schools for nursery. If you take a school to make sure that our educational develop. Yes. Thank you. Have a nice celebration.
Thank you very much. Well, I do not think that Nigeria's problem with education started or can be blamed on this administration, or even, but because it's been a perpetual problem. It's been there for many years. The state of schools in the country, I guess, dilapidated, having lecturers go on strike every now and then, and students cannot even focus and concentrate in school to succeed work because they're not being paid well. Hello, good morning.
Good morning. Our lecturers are coming to work despite not being paid well. I remember on the south, calling from PW this morning.
Good to have you.
You see, are we where we want to be? The answer is no. But considering the meager amounts budgeted for education, I think he will give our educationists who are trying to impact on us despite the almost unnatural learning and teaching condition in our various institutions, public institutions from primary to the university level. I think we can redesign our curriculum to fit in the current global best practices if we want to get there. I disagree to say that our education is educational status has decayed. Why would every country in the world want to come and put on our professionals, doctors, engineers, even our teachers now that we are saying are unqualified are being poached by even the UK itself? Isn't it? It means there are, yes, we have not gotten it, but there are aspects we are getting right. The aspects we are getting right, we should improve on them. The aspects we are not getting right, like the funding part, there are standards of teaching, there are standards of population in classes. Believe me, during my university days, some of the lectures I received through the window. And I am still able to come out with what I came out with. Now imagine we follow the global best practice, a conducive atmosphere where maximum we shouldn't be more than 30-35. You understand? So we really have to look towards that direction. Thank you very much for the wonderful opportunity. I truly like your program.
Thank you, Abubakar, for your thoughts. But then it seems like you mentioned, people have to take lectures from the window. And you go through all of that, you graduate, and sometimes you can't even compete favorably unless they just want to take advantage of you. Some of these people take advantage of cheap labor to, just hire cheap labor for starters, and then go there, we get some training, and then maybe before we begin to earn as much as they do, because they consider your education a little substandard. It just doesn't make sense. When the rankings of universities come out, Nigerian universities are always very far behind, falling way behind. Okay, we have Professor Lawal joining us again. Thank you so much for staying with us, Professor Lawal. Apologies for the network can be sometimes really embarrassing, but let's get to it. We're talking about the quality of education as it is. We always talk about the budgetary allocation for education and how small and how meager it is, but then there seems to be holes even with a meager amount.
Culture. We have issue of corruption. Nigeria, since Goodluck Jonathan left, the budgetary allocation to education have been falling. And then if you compare with other economies, like even Cameroon here, Nigerian contribution of the budget before 2023, that was supplementary budget was about 5.14%. In terms of fund, if you look at from the military institutions, you will see all manner of bodies. You will see all manner of bottlenecks. There is no better educate. Go to any of our institutions, you see level of corruption. Any of our institutions, you see level of corruption. Thank God that His Excellency President Tinubu has scrapped it for. He has removed our institutions underpaid. You see, the plastic job is more in the level of population. So all these things have impacts. on our education. So then another thing that now I see that is becoming a trend now is preference for foreign certificates above. You see some of these new schools. Hello, are you with me?
I'm with you, loud and clear.
Some of these new schools coming on board, they come and train. What's it called now? They are school abroad that you give them preference above persons that were trained here. Why are you not telling those students from those schools that it's not they go abroad, so that by the time they come back they'll get better job, they stand a better chance of getting better job? And if you look at it in academic, let me tell you the truth. If you study in Nigeria and you survive, you can live in Nigeria. If you go anywhere in the world, you get for students.